Well, hello, and welcome to episode one of my new podcast in the time of coronavirus. My name is Howie Walfish, aka Mr. Howie W. That last name, by the way, is one L, just like it sounds. W-A-L, fish, Walfish. And I am coming to you from somewhere in the San Fernando Valley on the first day of April, as we are smack dab preparing to hit the peak of the coronavirus pandemic. I was going to come to you from a podcast studio. That is no longer an option. No one that has one is letting anyone come in there for fear of COVID-19. I was going to come to you actually sitting up and, you know, looking into a camera on a tripod, well, the phone camera. But my lower back is killing me, and one of the ways it gets helped is by laying on a hardwood floor, which is exactly what I'm doing right now. Now, I could have just said, forget it. Can't do a podcast. Can't get to a podcast studio. Can't get a sound guy on a soundboard. A million reasons. But you know what? One of my favorite quotes comes from the movie Heartbreak Ridge. Clint Eastwood, as a Marine drill sergeant, spouting constantly to the recruits, or to his new recruits, that whenever they would complain about anything, he would say, "You're Marines. You improvise, you adapt, you overcome." And if ever there was a time this country, this world, but I'm more about America than anywhere else, needs to improvise, adapt, and overcome, it is right now. So as far as rules go regarding entertainment, or getting entertainment out to the people via the interwebs, there are no rules. They are all gone. And let me just say, there's two reasons I really adhere to the no rule theory. One, I had an acting teacher who was like a beatnik. Before, for those of you too young to know, before the hippies, they were the beatniks. It was the beatniks that started the marijuana. Well, actually, I think it was the black jazz musicians where marijuana first began. And that's not racist. Not a racist statement. Just part of history in America. I'm pretty sure I'm correct, but I'm willing to hear anyone prove me wrong. And then the beatniks, thought the black jazz musicians were really hip and cool and, you know, anti-society. The beatniks were, drove around, hitchhiked across country, long hair, whatever. They were hipsters before they're the hipsters we have now. And my acting teacher was a Broadway song and dance man who coached many a big name um, actor and Broadway people. He coached Steve Martin and Bernadette Peters. And he used to wear a corduroy jacket with suede pouches on the elbows. He had a ponytail, gray hair, and he wore cowboy boots. And um, he used to say, "Phooey." Sorry about that figure on the camera. He used to say, "Phooey on the audience, phooey on the audience. You do it your way, baby. You dig it. You do it your way. You dig it. You dig it." Was a beatnik thing, and so that really struck home with me. It's like, this is my way right now. COVID-19 has prevented me from doing what I'd prefer to do. And in fact, one of the major rules I'm breaking is I'm on camera. And for those of you not in the entertainment business who've never made money being in front of cameras or worked behind cameras, everyone in the entertainment business knows that those who get in front of a camera don't do it without a makeup artist. And there's a reason for that. And I learned that a long time ago. But I went ahead and did my self-heating mask facial in the shower. It's awesome. It's warm on your skin, and you just massage it in your face. And then I've got these things I find at Big Lots, Epiel, they're French, I think. These little patches you put under your eyes for 20 minutes. And, it helps. The other thing is, the way I'm shooting this right now, I don't look like the fat beast I feel like. No fat shaming. I love all kinds of people. God doesn't love me any more than he loves someone that weighs 280 pounds and is out of shape. But there's a reason there's anorexic actresses. And there's a reason big stars, when they find that makeup artist that makes them look the best, they travel the world with them on every movie. Were I a major celebrity, when I found the makeup artist that made me look the best I felt I looked, there's no way I would use anyone else. As far as what I was saying about anorexic actresses, you may have heard the saying that the camera puts on 10 pounds. This is bullshit. The camera puts on 40 fucking pounds. Oh, yes, I'm from New York, out of the schoolyard. And oh, there's those fingers in front of the camera again. I'm not good. Oh, there it is. I got to go behind the phone. Uh, I'm from the schoolyard in New York, in the neighborhood, and F-bombs fly. Now, I'm not quite nowhere near the league of the master of cursing, Richard Pryor. And I'm not a master comedian. I know some comedians that are what they call monsters on stage. But this podcast, as you're seeing, is pretty much stream of consciousness. And I'll do my best, even with the utilization of sleep meds lately, to try to stay on point. So the rules that are being broken are I'm getting in front of a camera, any camera, even a cell phone camera without makeup. I'm getting in front of a camera even though I haven't lost the weight the last 2 weeks that I wanted to lose before I got in front of the camera. And on top of that, I'm not in any kind of a studio. I'm not standing up. I'm not sitting down. I'm not in a suit. And there's a reason for that. And you know what? In the time of coronavirus, none of this shit matters. All that matters is if anyone seeing this gets a kick out of it, gets a kick out of me, and decides to tell their friends to tune in on our channels, on smart TV networks, on Roku and Amazon Fire TV, of which I am the talent coordinator, along with now my show. In the time of coronavirus, we're at a turning point in world history, no question. The world will never be the same as we've known it. And the new kids being born, and I can't take credit for this, I wish I knew who created it. If anybody sees this and knows or is the person who created the term I'm about to use, I'd like very much to give them their credit. The kids born, when there was a blackout years ago in New York, when there's, blackouts anywhere, like 9 months later, there's a baby boom. Well, everyone's being told to stay inside. You know that a lot of people are drinking heavy. You know that couples that may have not gotten busy with each other for a while are like, what the hell? What do? You get busy. The old pole in the hole theory, as my mentor back in the schoolyard, M, used to say. Human nature just leads to, let's get busy. Let's have that sex. So in 9 months, there's going to be a baby boom, and they're going to be called coronials. Coronials. Now, if we make it 9 months, I don't know that we will. There are people that believe in the biblical prophecies and that right now we're experiencing the first horseman and the four horsemen of the apocalypse. The first horseman is pestilence, disease. Pestilence is disease, and also insects. And apparently there's been like 1 billion locusts that have made their way from Africa through the Middle East and in Sudan or Oban, not Oban is in Scotland, I was there. One of the Middle Eastern countries, they said the sidewalks were moving. There's so many locusts. So I am in no position, nor is anyone watching this in a position to scoff or mock really any conspiracy theories or those who believe in the book of Revelations and the end of times. My hope, of course, well, I say of course, anyone that knows me knows I love the Ancient Aliens guys. And they're really fascinating shows no matter what you think about them. The whole thing, all the things that are around the world, all the cultures with the same, myths and legends, and that gods came from the sky, and the things they find in caves that are 18,000 years old with pictures of spacemen and space vehicles, and the belief that they're under the ice in Antarctica, they're under the sea. I'm like, listen, you know what? Let the benevolent ETs announce they're not only under there, they're walking amongst us. So my attitude is like, you know what? Let them just announce themselves already and intervene. Because this planet needs, just like if you have a brother or a girlfriend, a husband, a wife, a son, a daughter that has gotten out of control with their drinking or their drugging, and there's a show on TV, what do? You do an intervention. This planet needs an intervention. Many people believe in divine intervention. Divine intervention is not God appearing in the sky out of some clouds. I think, well, in the Christian world, divine intervention is, the second coming of Jesus. He's supposed to step back down on the Temple Mount. My personal belief, and I have some very strong Christian friends, good people, they dispute me on this, but my personal belief, I'm a pretty logical guy, and I'm a strategic. I think strategically. If I'm Jesus and I'm coming back at this point in time in the world, I'm not walking around Israel in sandals and long robes and trying to spread the word that way. What I would do is, all of a sudden, every single screen in the world, every single screen in the world, I'd be on it. No hacker could do that. And I'd throw a miracle or two at, that everyone could experience at that moment. Okay, so is divine intervention happening? No, they say first the four horsemen of the apocalypse have to come. And the first one is here, pestilence. This is what they believe. I don't know what I believe yet. Pestilence. Next is war, then famine, then death. And you know what? I prefer to just get to death through nuclear devastation. That's my personal feeling. Vaporized, like a Star Trek episode, phaser. You feel I'm not big on physical pain and suffering, not at all. And so, let it go. Let